Hi, ladies. I wanted to hop on and just talk about acceptance, body acceptance, self acceptance, life acceptance. Um, a lot of the conversation around weight loss and weight management happens like it's a side conversation. It's something on the outside of our life. And part of what inspired me to go the route I have with my studies and my specialty in weight loss and weight management, and just health and nutrition is because, like, you guys, food is life. What we eat becomes our body. We have to eat like 3 times a day, or 5 if you're more of a snacker like me. However many times you eat during the day, we eat several times a day. And that's a lot. That is a lot of doing one thing. That's where you can recognize it's an important ritual to have healthy boundaries and have a healthy mindset around. Otherwise, it's something that we do frequently. And if you have an unhealthy mindset or unhealthy boundaries or unhealthy beliefs about it, then you are putting yourself in a position to have a lot of negativity in your life, have a lot of stress, have a lot of fear and worry. So today I want to talk about acceptance, because in that whole process, acceptance is really key. And yeah, for myself, I really want to get into this point. When I was learning a lot about acceptance being a huge factor in weight management, trying to remember putting myself back where I was right now, thinking through it. I totally have mom brain, so memory is not on point. Yeah, so for myself, when I was learning about this, I was studying it, and I got really into what's called the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, like the information that they put out. I'm really fascinated by. Ultimately, acceptance in every aspect of our life. So for me, I was able to apply this lesson around food and relationship with food to other parts of my life. At the time, it would really stress me out that I was not working in this field. I was nannying and teaching yoga, and I would be really unhappy with myself sometimes when I would go down a spiral of, I don't want to be a nanny anymore. I have an education in holistic nutrition, and I want to be using it. And so I had a lot of lack of acceptance for where I was in life and the quote-unquote lack of success that I was having. And so I was learning about acceptance in relationship with food in my studies with the psychology, or the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, and applying it to my own life in a different angle of just having acceptance for where I was. It's okay that I was a nanny. Like my nanny years really gave me insight into other people's home life that is priceless. Gave me insight into the way other people engage in their families, engage with themselves, etc. So I did have to really wrap acceptance around my life in that time. What it means for relationship with food, relationship with body is, and I had played this out too with my relationship with my body. I had a lot of food allergies, and there were many years, even before I figured out my food allergies and as I was changing my diet, where I just wanted to be quote unquote normal. Why can't I just be like that girl over there who eats whatever the bleep she wants and looks amazing? Her skin is always clear. She has the best clothes. Guys want to know her. Like, I want to be that girl. Why can't I be that girl? And it took me years to get to a place of acceptance where Now I realize my food allergies have been one of my greatest gifts in life. My food allergies ignited this desire, this need, this yearning in me to learn about what a healthy body is and what health is. And then acceptance when I moved to Hawaii and I was nannying and I couldn't afford to live the pure kind of super type A lifestyle that I was living, which was like before I moved here, it was like I was kind of relaxed paleo for a while, and then I was doing a diet to heal my body that looked very like high intense, all organic keto, plus some healing supplements. And that's not something I recommend to people willy-nilly. I think it's a tool. I was using it as a healing tool at the time. But I still I wanted to keep up the framework, like I knew what it felt like to feel really good. But moving to Hawaii, and not only does it cost a fuck ton of money to eat food here, excuse my French, it's expensive here. I think it was named the most expensive city to live in, Honolulu. Anyway, or state of Hawaii. So I had to have a lot of acceptance for what I could afford and start making a few exceptions for things. Gonna get into a new routine with what works, what is working with what I can afford. And I also had to practice acceptance for the fact that, because I moved here from Portland, Oregon, which is super crunchy. And Hawaii, I mean, we're like 7 or 8 years down the road, 8 years now I've lived here. When I first moved here, it was not as crunchy as it is now. There's quite a few more crunchy options. They're like farm to table options. But at the time, there were not a lot of options, and the options were very expensive. And it was also not, it's more of a fad here now, just like it grew into a fad in Portland. But it wasn't. So the habits I had, I was alone in. And I had to practice a lot of acceptance for just all of the things that were being Natalie Fund around relationship with body and food, honestly. And so acceptance is so important, because lack of acceptance is more of like a trying to force. It's trying to control. Lack of acceptance is control. And it's easy, especially when you start a diet, if you've ever done paleo or the Whole30 or keto, there is a form of disordered eating that is being addicted to being a health conscious person. And I don't think I was quite there, but it was still hard for me to surrender, to let go of control around what I did and didn't want to put in my body. And so for me, also where acceptance came into play was trying to let go, and I still have to actively let go of labels around good foods and bad foods. And so my workaround for that, the way I really identify with that, is nutrient-dense foods versus nutrient-void foods or empty calories. I always want to be eating nutrients. So, for example, there's this really yummy, shredded coconut chocolate bar, chocolate-covered shredded coconut, and it's got sugar in it and stuff. But essentially, it's dark chocolate, sugar, and coconut. That's not the worst thing in the world. It is pretty freaking tasty. But yeah, having acceptance, not looking at that and deciding that's a bad food because it has sugar in it. Rather, yeah, I want to indulge and I want to be in the moment and I want to enjoy that. It looks really tasty and I want to enjoy it. I did have to go through, after I felt really healthy, having gone on my cleanse, that strict keto diet, I had, so there, yeah, I guess the perfectionist in me really wanted to adhere to perfectionism. This is perfect. this feels amazing. Like, my body never felt healthier than it did at that time. But socially, like, I couldn't go out and eat like that. Like, that was, sure, you can, but it was hard. Or I would eat first, or I would eat after. And I didn't get to share the emotional connection that comes with sharing meals with people. Or I would be judged if I ordered something that looked very different from what's on the menu. Or people would make comments about how the server must hate me, just stuff like that. And that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me. It's all about standing firm in what you are, or who you are, and what you want in life. And my belief, I guess, essentially what I'm trying to get to is like, all in due seasons. All in due seasons. I mean, that's like 8 years ago since I did 4 months on a very strict, no grain, no sugar, high fat, healthy protein, like properly sourced protein. It was mostly meat and vegetables that I ate, and some legumes as well. And a lot of cashews. I ate so many cashews when I was on that diet. That's what my body craved. I would salivate for them, and I'd have to I would be thinking about cashews, and I would go straight to the store and quote unquote binge on cashews. But yeah, there was something in cashews that my body really wanted during that process of healing. Anyway, I have not had any desire to be that restricted ever since then. Like I said, it was a process of acceptance when I moved to Hawaii and had to accept that my diet was going to be different, and I had to re-put it together in a different way and have acceptance for what that was going to look like. And then when I was pregnant, I had to have acceptance for how my body was changing. That was a whole thing. You know, my belly had never grown like that before, and probably you can identify if you've had a kid. It's a whole crazy thing. And then postpartum, the hormones, and then something that I never hear anyone talk about is when I was pregnant and I didn't eat soon enough, which is before I feel like I need to eat. If I didn't eat before felt like I needed to eat, I would start to feel really sick. Like the nausea would come back. And so then I just started to eat out of fear of feeling that nausea come back. And that's a real thing. That's an actual thing. I've found it in books now. That fear of being hungry. And so whatever that hunger feeling is for you, if you've ever been really ravenous, or maybe you've experienced that sick feeling in pregnancy or out of pregnancy, that's a very real thing, to feel fear of it. And so, practicing, taking the moment to slow down and acknowledge, this is what I'm afraid of. It's that feeling of when I was sick. I'm not pregnant anymore. I don't have to adhere to that. I did also feel that way. I would get that feeling, I think, for probably around the first year of breastfeeding as well. And so it's a matter of taking the time to stop, look, and listen. Take stock with how your body's doing, what it needs, right? But some time ago, I realized that I was no longer having that sick feeling when I hadn't eaten soon enough. And that's when my body really started to shift. And I have to believe that that's probably just the hormones, right? And so now my diet is looking more and more similar to what actually works for my body, not just for breastfeeding. And that's making me feel really good. I did practice acceptance for where I was with pregnancy and breastfeeding and all of that. But it's really nice to just get to be autonomous in my decisions with food and be like, yeah, this is what makes me feel good. This is what I am craving right now, and this is what I want, regardless of what my hormones are saying. So I hope this all makes sense to you. It's kind of a ramble, but my whole thing is I want to bring real life to you. Real life lessons. I'm not going to open my book and read a bunch of facts to you. I want my shares to be relatable and real. So if this was relatable for you, please say so in the comments. And if you want more of what I've got, if you've been watching some of my videos and scrolling and liking my posts, go ahead and sign up for your free breakthrough call. That's why I'm here. I want to help you. I want to help you get to the next level. I want to help you have acceptance, have deep, passionate love for your experience in your body. So acceptance, I hadn't really touched on this yet, is because I'm very much all about like how I feel. So I'm always after energy and vibrance. But, a lot of the weight loss conversation is around aesthetics. And so practicing acceptance for how you look. And the way you do that is you choose it. You can meditate or pray, and whatever articulation works for you. You can ask God, I want to feel acceptance from my body. I want to know what acceptance from my body feels like. I want to know what love for my body feels like. And so you can spend time in quiet and meditation and prayer. You can talk to God about it. You can say that to yourself in the mirror. You look in the mirror, and I always think it's really powerful to touch your throat when you're talking, and especially when you're looking in the mirror and you say, I accept you and I love you. And you can feel that vibration. I accept you and I love you. I accept that life, my choices, my experiences, my non-choices, just the way life has brought me right here with this body, I accept you and I love you. So that's where it starts, you guys. You change your self-talk and you change your life. All right, if you want help with it, sign up for a call. It's that simple. All right, love and light to you guys. I hope that you found this useful. Talk to you later. Bye.